Capture, check. Okay. And then Mac OS capture, I'll put that down. Screen capture, I'll put that down. Yeah. Let me close this. So, hey guys, it's me, Grant, also known as Blue Chew. And yeah, I'm really kind of in a bored mood today. And I thought I would film a video as I'm trying to make content a bit more. Um, any content, music, audio, film content, and in this case, instance, a video. Um, and I kind of got bored, and I've been seeing these ads on Instagram for exploring and discovering Berklee College of Music digital handbooks. Um, so yeah, I I gotta go to the handbook. Yeah, so I made an account with them, and it looks like they have a couple different handbooks. Um, you can you can download. Um, yeah, so what I was interested in is I'm interested in learning a bit more about music theory and ear training. Um, if you don't know me or haven't heard my music, sorry, I'm tearing up. If you don't know me or haven't heard my music, then I think you would really like it. A, please check it out, and B, I kind of have a plethora, a mix of bass music, a mix of some happy electronic, and even an alternative track, um, which I'll put the link to down below. But yeah, you can learn so much more from this, especially because I don't have any formal training in music theory. So and yeah, on the whim of electronic music production, um, it's really just yeah, sure, Max, what's up? Got a text from my friend Max. So yeah, out on a whim is just something I can always learn more about, and I definitely am interested in some bass guitar and music, but my main one. So I'm gonna go ahead and view this handbook. So it's a 76-page handbook. For the sake of simplicity, let's download it to desktop. Save. Very nice. And let's just full screen this and check this out for a second. So it's the Music Theory, Harmony, and Ear Training Handbook. As someone who is still a student and will be applying to colleges in the next year, or actively is applying to colleges, who will be enrolled in the next year, and who has also taken a couple college classes in their time as a high schooler, um, as well as being a musician and producer. I kind of wanted to review these books and put them online just so people can get a sense of what to expect when they see these books, if they're worth it, if they're not. So okay, cool. Let's see. So it looks like there's different lessons, and then there's features. Different different people. Um, yeah. So let's take a look here. I'm gonna highlight what I'm reading. Whether you're looking to jumpstart your career, artistic aspirations, or connect with mutual community, all the best. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so this is their slogan and their ads: study music online, anywhere, anytime, with Berklee College of Music. I don't know if you've seen them on Instagram, but they're. Let's see if it holds up to this. Uh, I'm not really interested in their masters. Let's see. Okay. To help our inner hearing of melody and how melody notes function in a key, we'll use a system of naming the scale degrees in relation to the tonic. Movable, do, solfege, I guess. Solfege, yeah. This version of solfege has been widely used throughout English-speaking countries and some other cultures for more than 200 years, and similar systems exist in other languages and cultures. Movable do solfege is widely used in school choirs and music education. You may know it from the famous scene in The Sound of Music. Unfortunately for them, I don't. So yeah, we're working with major keys in this course. We're just working with major keys in this course. If you're an E major, do is E, A something major. I can't read it. Sorry. A B, A flat major. I don't know. This is a very different use. I know that's sharp, right? I just that's probably has to be flat then. Okay. Chromatic scale of key of C. So, oh, this is very helpful. Okay, so I'm probably not going to do it in the right key, but if you ever took an elementary school class, right, on your recorder, they did teach you the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, and it goes to the next octave after that. And I believe that is the pentatonic scale, but they added some extras in here. So do, di, re, mi, fa, fi, sol, si, la, ti, la, li, ti, do. That's kind of cool. Do, ti, te, la, le, sol, se, fa, mi, me, re, do. Yeah, I'm just having fun with it right now. Okay. So, you know, if you are a sheet music reader, I like that they visualize this for you, and you can also match syllables to the sheet music. However, I'm not a sheet music reader. I can only read drum sheet music. I just don't know what I'm looking at right now. Do, re, mi, myself rhymes with ti, fa, whatever. Yeah, you get the breakdown. Where the major scale tones. These syllables are pronounced like Italian vowels, also like Spanish. Take a look at the solfege phonetic pronunciation key. So is solfege this? I'm guessing yes, that's something new I learned. So solfege is, I hope I'm butchering it, but I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Solfege is the pronunciation of Italian, or I'll just say for the lack of better word, Latin syllables. And those are what they use to express what the different scales sound like, so that's pretty cool. I would definitely remember that from my primary school education. Movable do or do solfege works by singing some 3-note phrase using only scale degrees 1, 2, 3, do, re, mi. First, use a piano keyboard or online keyboard tool to get do. We don't expect you to have perfect or absolute pitch. You can start with one reference pitch and let your inner hearing do the rest. Then sing do, which is the first note. So I can actually visualize this, right? I think for right now, I'm going to load in a very simple piano sound, grandpiano.adg, and I'm going to go here, right? And just so we can visualize it together, for those of you who don't use Ableton, I know this looks like a lot, but as you can see here, now we just have a very classic piano roll scale. And then I'm going to open actually the textbook on this side. So now we have dual views, and I should be able to hear that, but oh, that's why. Okay. Cool, I can hear it now. So just so you can also see what I'm playing. So I'm gonna find C. Okay, cool. Do, do. Use your memory of the sound of the major scale to guide you up and down. Do, re, mi, fa, do, la, ti, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa. Yep. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Do, 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 do. So these are one octave away from each other. Okay. So I'm gonna guess that's probably what I just played or something. And I don't know if that's actually the major scale or not. So just to let you know, while I'm recording this is me learning in real time. So yeah, it should be fascinating. Key of F. Now let's try to find F. Oh, I was right. Okay, that is F. Okay. Seems intuitive enough. Each time you get ready to sing a melodic example in this lesson, first give yourself the tonic note do only as reference. But what if you don't have access to a piano keyboard? Finding do is more innate than you think. The next thing we'll talk about is how you can train yourself to find do easily. Finding do. How do we know which note is the tonic do? We've already done a lifetime of practice on this subliminally. Whether we use the music theory term tonic, our ears are used to sorting out the sounds we hear in music. Do is the note the song is likely to end on, the root of the last chord, usually, and the point of rest in the music. Some of the things that help us orient our ear to the key and its tonic do are the opening song, especially the last note and chord, the duration and rhythmic placement of do notes, familiar patterns that establish key. It's a lot easier to experience finding do than it is to explain in words. Cool. See if you could find do in some songs. I won't be doing that for this lesson on here just for the sake of time. How to practice ear training. Or hold on, so sorry. We'll tell you the key when you're transcribing or listening, and since we're working with only major scales, the key signature will always tell you what major key we're in. For example, if the key has one flat, it's F major, and F is do. So do, what I'm getting from this is that do is the root. Tonic, or I guess it's the root. So I don't know. Let's just play like a triad. So that is do. I mean, I'm sure there's more to it. Let's play another thing. Like that's do. Okay. It's a lot easier to experience finding do. Okay. The key is to exercise your inner hearing. It's like isolating a muscle. If you cheat and use an easier technique, you won't really get stronger. In ear training, that means only using a reference, do, and extrapolating all the other sounds from inner hearing. If you play what you're trying to hear and sing, you switch to the echo memory, a short-term memory part of the brain that babies use to imitate words. That's kind of cool. Getting some science in here. Wow. They even plug their own learning. If you play an instrument in ear training, always play after you've sung. You can play to check yourself. By following this rule consistently, you'll learn and progress much faster, and that should always be your goal. Okay. Beth Denish. I like how this is an intro course and they're already talking about polyphonic textures. Yeah, I don't. Master the basics of rhythm. For, again, those of you who may not know me, I have a background in drumming. So I'm gonna mess with this rhythm course a lot. Alligator. Notice that the al has the strongest emphasis. The strongest beat is beat 1 al and is called the downbeat. Beat 3 ga is also considered alligator, alligator. I mean, alligator. It's 4. Okay. Notice how the beats are grouped into sets of 4. Now say crocodile over and over. Here are beats. Here the beats are grouped into sets of 3. Crocodile, 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 crocodile. Unless that's how they're. Oh, my bad. Crocodile, crocodile. Okay. Lizard. 2 beats. Okay. Alligator, crocodile, lizard, alligator, crocodile, lizard. I mean, yeah. That's not how I would personally explain it to a beginner, but it's clever because you definitely connect past knowledge to new knowledge, but again, not how my brain works, so that's totally okay. When beats are grouped together, the pulse is said to be in a meter. Most music has a regular underlying meter. Each group of beats is called a measure or bar. In music notation, meter is indicated by a time signature. A time signature usually has 2 numbers. Okay, very cool. Little Ableton lesson here real quick. All this stuff that they're teaching is very nice and intuitive, so let's turn on this button. And for the sake of it sounding more accurate to what some people may know, this is a meter or a measure. Alligator. And that is in 4. So these are the 2 numbers they just talked about. And a bar would be a certain measure. So let's say the measure from this number 3 to this number 5 is 1 bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that would be considered our 1 measure, consisted of 4 meters on 4, 4, the alligator. So 4 alligators. Nice. I like how they're doing that so far, especially if they could do that. So that'd be lizard. Let's change this to 3. Crocodile, wait, 3. Oh, that's 4, 4. Change it to 3. What about this to 3? There we go. Crocodile, 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 crocodile. So for those of you who don't know, that is completely my bad. This number that is on the right-hand side, right here, this will indicate the measure, the number of meters to make 1 measure. So if we have 4, right, 1 meter, 1 meter, 1 meter, 1 meter. It is 4 meters to make one measure. But if we lower it to 2, if we lower it to 2, right, while it still looks about the same setup, there is 2 meters to make one measure, right? This, on the other hand, is controlling how many lines or how many syllables. For example, alligator, crocodile, or lizard, right? So, alligator. But if you wanted it to be in 3, crocodile, crocodile, crocodile. And usually to separate these, I feel like I'm teaching at this point, but this is just me trying to rationalize what they're telling me. To separate these, you'll have one high note followed by low notes. And each high note is the start of a new meter. Hell, listen. Right? So, very nice. Okay. In this time signature, there are 4 beats per measure. There are 3 beats per measure, exactly, right? 4 beats per measure, 3 beats per measure, 2 beats per measure. Let's focus on 4/4. It's most common in music, popular in jazz music. That is correct. Well, yeah, I guess so. Bar lines separate measures, just like right here. But I guess in sheet music it's like that. Notes are the building blocks of any other piece of music and can last for any number of beats. We will refer to this as the note's duration or value. Each note value represents a rhythmic attack. Let's look at 3 common types of note values: half, whole, and quarter. Or whole, half, and quarter. Whole notes last for the whole measure, which is 4 beats, the symbol we write. Half notes last for half as long. Quarter notes last for a quarter of the whole note, which is 1 beat. Okay, so for those of you who are audible learners, as opposed to visual learners, they likely recognize these symbols. Yeah. I want to see if they actually explain. They don't. Okay, so for people who are watching this learning with me, the absolute basics of theory and harmony and rhythm, a whole note would be this. 1, oh, my bad, here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Half notes. So just let's make this even easier. Right here, I have a piano note, and that piano note is D. Let's make it C, because that's what we worked with the do. These are going to be playing in whole notes. So whole notes last the whole meter, right? And or measure. I guess they could be used interchangeably, but in this case, meters make up the measure. So yeah, there is 1 per meter, 4 in a measure, from 1 to 5. Half notes last for half as long. Meaning, here's a good way to visualize this, right? If you have 4 of these, if they last for half as long, that's a shitty way of saying it. If there's 2 beats in the meter, and we have 1 right now, literally just divide them. So notice what I just did. Or multiply them, I should say. They split into 2 now. So, or however your brain thinks, they split into 2, like mitosis, or they copied over and made another copy of itself, and there's now a set more. So to give you an example what that sounds like. Very, very basic, rudimentary. Now, if you could guess what a quarter note is, a quarter, I'm going to use for my US, Canada, Mexico people that are watching. If you have a quarter of something, or if you have a quarter in currency, a quarter in mathematics is represented as 1/4. Now there's 4 beats in 1 meter, and there's a quarter note. So that means that there is 1 beat, 1 tone per meter. So just like last time, these guys are going to divide or multiply, however you think. I like to think divide. And they're going to do a little mitosis. And now look at this. Very intuitive, very easy. And if you listen to disco or funk, you know, this is just what they use for the kick drum patterns too. The boom, 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 boots and cats and boots and cats and. Right, so very easy to remember. Very nice. I like the way they explain that. Cover rests. Whole rests are small, solid rectangles. So I'm guessing if you have some person, I'm just gonna draw in some random stuff, right? And then that sounds like shit, obviously. But if you just have someone playing, whoa, whoa, rest. So it covered the entire rest of that. And when you're drumming in sheet music, that would be marked as that. Half rests are rectangles that lie on top of the staff line. 2 beats. So let's say someone's, let's use the same pattern as last time. Someone's popping off. That was a half rest. Quarter rest. So yeah, just to give you an example what these may look like. A whole rest, if the whole thing plays, rest. A half rest, one, two. Very nice. A quarter rest. Oh, my bad. 1. So pretty easy to, yeah. It's not easy to showcase all the combinations of notes and rests that you could come up with. Yeah, there's a lot. Now that you understand some basics of rhythm. Oh. I'm going to be skipping over these artist spotlights. I'm not saying that they aren't important, but I guess in a sense they don't add to the lesson entirely. Understanding reharmonization. When the late jazz guitar legend Tal Farlow explained his motivation to reharmonize standard tunes, he replied with the twist on an old adage, if it ain't broke, fix it anyway. No, Farlow, but that's okay. I digress. And so it goes. In the world of artists of all mediums and disciplines, the musician is the most audacious when it comes to altering another's creation. I agree. Imagine an artist taking a palette of paintbrushes to the Museum of Fine Arts and painting an extra nose on Picasso's masterpiece. Nightmare. Or someone putting a hat on Rodin's timeless bronze in marble sculpture, The Thinker. Scandalous, to say the least, and possibly resulting in some jail time. You fucking think, Berklee. Okay. Anyway. However, the history of jazz performance and arranging, as well as the European classical tradition, as exemplified by Rhapsody on a theme of Paganini, I don't know, by Rachmaninoff, I don't do this stuff, I'm sorry, is filled with players and writers whose creative intention could be distilled down to Tal's response. Tal. There are instances in which the reharmonized song is considered so superior to the original chord changes that the new version becomes the standard harmonic form, which in turn becomes subjected to further variation. The Victor Young classic Stella by Starlight and Burke/Van Heusen standard like Someone in Love are excellent examples of new standards. Can you imagine what a cocktail pianist who has been in the same 5-night-a-week gig for 10 years would have to endure if they weren't able to make some kind of harmonic liberty with the repertoire? Maybe reharmonization contributes to good mental health for the performer. No matter how you frame it, reharmonization has a long-standing tradition in the world of jazz and popular music. I'm going to sound really stupid, but just so we have a better understanding, I want to get the absolute bare basic definition of reharmonization so we kind of know what we're talking about. To harmonize something again or anew with a different harmony. Okay. So okay. I'm going to keep reading and I'm going to try to interpret it a bit later. Occasionally there is a need to use, so we know reharmonization keeps boredom at bay, but why else do we reharmonize? Occasionally there is a need to use material from the standard repertoire where reharmonization can place the ordinary into an extraordinary setting. There may also be situations in which the melody and chords may not be in vertical agreement. A change in the harmony may be called for. For improvising player, reharmonization is regarded as improvising harmonies to a fixed melody line, the opposite of melodic improvisation. For the improviser who is soloing melodically with the standard framework of the chord changes of a tune, the various substitution and approach techniques that you will learn later in this course and superimposed against the rhythm section accompaniment, can be applied to great effect. Okay, there we go. That they should have just said this in the beginning. To reharmonize means to alter the underlying harmonic form while maintaining the original melodic chord structure. It is essentially an arrangement change that puts the focus on the harmony. So let's come up. What happened there? Oh, I see what happened there. My bad, y'all. Very standard, right? Very, very standard. I guess in terms of reharmonization, it is essentially an arrangement change that puts the focus on the harmony. So let's say instead of this, right, I wanted this probably wouldn't work out well, but I wanted the first two chords switched around. So there could be almost I want to say a call and response to that, which is very nice. For example, just getting a better view for you guys. Yeah, so right, you could have the yeah, or let's say you got bored of that. Right, there's a lot you can do, but it all stemmed from the same thing. And I guess you could also change the rhythm of it. So in this case, maybe Right. Instead of dun dun dun, you could change to 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and eighth notes and go back to quarter notes. It sounds a bit dancey now, right? I'm not sure I'm supposed to change the pitch, but let's do it. Right? Wow, we just wrote a, you know what? Yeah, wow, we just, whoa. I'm not gonna, release this or anything. It's so stupid. Let me just, for the sake of simplicity, like, so I mean, very basic stuff. Increasing tension and release through substitution and approach techniques. Reharmonization alters the mood of a song by increasing tension and release through the substitution and approach techniques. Like what we just did, where we switched the first two chords around. Call and response, tension and release. So that was pretty good. Prolonging expectations for resolution and non-tonic functions, creating a more, in some cases, less active harmonic stream. Enhancing the bass line, like what we did. We added lower notes, yeah. For reharmonization to be acceptable, so in this case, the melody must be recognizable and the harmony must be logical and familiar. So I shouldn't have changed the key, but with everything said and done, we basically did a decent example of reharmonization, and it's really, let's say, oh, I deleted the piano thing, didn't I? Yeah, right. Oh. Right, so. Right, really basic. If we wanted reharmonization to do a thing. I mean, I guess that would be reharmonizing because we changed around the chords, but it's still recognizable because it's made of the same stuff. So, very cool. This means no little or no melodic embellishment is used, and the harmony is resourced from the common practice chord patterns of standard popular repertoire. There will always be expectations to these conditions, but until further notice, these will be absolute. Depending on the listening experiences, the average non-musician has a catalog of common internalized harmonic progressions that may be more limited than those of professional musicians. The more experienced the listener, the more complex reharmonization will be acceptable. Ultimately, for the listener to accept the new harmonization as valid, arbitrary chord choices must be avoided. I agree. There are some levels on which to measure the effects of reharmonization. One of three outcomes can be expected within reharmonization relatively to the harmonic rhythm. The original harmony will be substituted through structural conversation, or several levels. Sorry, I blanked out. Several levels on which to measure the effects of reharmonization. One of three outcomes will be expected with reharmonization relative to the harmonic rhythm. In most cases, there's no change in harmonic rhythm. My bad, y'all. The original harmony will approach chords added that have either a functional or structural relationship with an original target chord. Their harmonic rhythm becomes faster. The original harmony will be modified by removing chords. The harmonic rhythm may become slower. Yeah. I don't know how to play this at all, so we're gonna skip this part. The second verse, we can compare them. For example, They kept everything for the most part the same, but the second verse is reharmonized with simple substitute diatonic chords. There's no change in the harmonic rhythm. So they kept D, G, D, D, G, D, G, D, D, G. The starting is a G, starting is a G, but the change is a B minor, A minor, yeah, versus a D and a C. But it still ends in DG. So that would be harmonic substitution or reharmonized, because it's still recognizable, just adds variation. Then it can get more complex with some 6th and 7th chords to enrich triads, and that will make it more active and sound fuller. So for example, instead of a D, it's a D7 followed by a G, A7, D7, F sharp 7th, G 6th, D minor 7, G7, C major 7, just with 7th and 6th chords. Then it starts to get A minor 7, A flat 7 to G major 7, E flat 7, D7. So you can see basically what Berklee is trying to teach us is you can add on to a chord right. You can add, so if we wanted to do some substitution for this, right? So made it more emotional by adding some dissonance. Versus what it was before. Right? Now if we keep it like this, but we want to make it sound fuller, let's put this an octave up. Right, so now we added a bottom layer. We made them different chords. Again, still recognizable though from the skeleton we had with the triads. Very cool. Hello, Steven. And yeah, whatever. If you've made it this far, I'm glad you followed along. I know it's a very boring video, but it's kind of just like a sit down and learn with me kind of video. Again, skipping over the highlights, world-class courses, and the intricacies of the 7th chord. Beyond the basic right? 1, 3, 5, you add a 7th. Odd numbers, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, or 6, or whatever. Oh, my bad. 6, 7, 6, 1, 2, 3, 1, skip 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, skip 1, 4, 5, and then here's your 6, or here's your 7th. So let's start off with a root note. Let's start off with C. C is our root note. And we're only working with the white keys right now. So if you have a piano or a keyboard, that would be beneficial. So here's our C. We're ignoring all the black keys right now. Only C. C. Here's 1. So for those of you who don't know what they're talking about, 1, 3, 5 triads. I should cover this in the video, but I'll try to timestamp it if that's even a thing I could do. 1. This is 2. We don't want 2. So we're going to go to 3 because there's clashing. That doesn't sound right. Oh, that sounds good. That's 1 and 3. So you have 1, 3. Here's 1, 3, and 4. Sounds a little weird. Let's go to 5. That's a triad. And that is our 1, 3, 5. Now, you ready for this? Here's something weird. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So 1, 3, 5. Now, what they were saying with 6th and 7th chords is that you could do this. Oh, that doesn't work. I'll play it on here. So that would be a 7th chord. A 6th chord, however, would be, right? So that's a 7th. I'm really struggling with this right now. My bad. And a 6th, 7th, 6th, 7th, 6th. So it's very, on the white keys only, it's put down one finger, skip a white key. Put down another finger, skip a white key. Put down another finger. Then, once you have your triad, whatever you're constructing, you can go next to it. So you go 1, skip, 1, 2, skip, 3, 4, skip, 5, 6, or you can do 6, skip, 7. Very basic. Yeah, how do they create interesting sounding stuff? The right answer to these questions lie in 7th chords. Think of a 7th chord as an upward extension of a triad. The chord members then are the root 3rd, 5th, and 7th. So you have the 1, 3, 5, and 7. Picture what kind of 3rd and what kind of 5 and what kind of 7th occur above the root when the chord is in close root position. There are 4 kinds of 7th chords found on the degrees of the major scale: major 7th, minor 7th, dominant 7th, and minor 7th. 5? No, here's what's confusing to me personally. I don't know what a diminished versus a perfect is. So let's look that up real quick. In music, a diminished interval is a half a step smaller than a perfect interval. While a 7th interval can be major, minor, or diminished, perfect intervals diminished interval has one less half step than a perfect. A diminished interval has one less half step than a perfect interval. Let's go to images. Oh god, it's all sheet music. So I guess these are also sounds. Am I sure that's what they're doing? Okay, hold up. Let's find a 2 on here, right? So Oh. Is that shit they use in cartoons? Versus like versus. So I guess the top one, is that perfect? I don't know. That's the seventh chord. Yeah, so there are different types of seventh chords where you can use the black keys, but for the most part, white keys, my bad. Also, if I mess up, let me know. I'm not an expert on this shit. I've taken music classes before, and I'm just going off of what they told me. But it's not what worked for me personally. The note of any standard chord, triad, or seventh are defined. A C major 7 will always contain a C, an E, a G, and a B. However, those notes may be positioned a different number of ways. Look at the following. How the fuck am I supposed to read that? Ha! All of what you see at the end of the previous page are C major 7th chords. All of these versions and many others are used all the time. It's an important part of your chord recognition skill to be able to identify 7th chords. Okay. Good to know. Tom Hoynacke. Actually, that's a good story to look into. Choir, had been hoping to learn piano. Cape Town, South Africa. Very nice. It's an inspiring story. I like it. Okay. Okay. I guess that was the end of the handbook. So, going over a recap of what we learned. I'm going to click on this manual again. I'm going to go all the way back up. So, we learned, my bad, I forgot that if you click it on a PDF, it will go to it. So we learned overall how to find root notes using solfege. I believe that's what it's called. So do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, and that's pentatonic, and solfege is the Latin syllables for describing the tones, the basics of rhythm, whole, half, quarters, understanding reharmonization, so variations on the same structure, and as well as seventh chords and what those look like in music. If you read sheet music, good for you. If you don't, you're like me and you have to learn what the different kinds of seventh chords are still. But we learned an example. So if you've definitely heard those in cartoons, music, horror movies, murder mysteries, yeah. And even in regular chord building, you could kind of point it out. So what do I rate this handbook? I rate it a solid 7.5 out of 10. If you're an absolute beginner, it will confuse you. But with that being said, if you're at the point where you can read sheet music like they have it wrote out already, you probably don't need it. But I'm giving it a 7.5 because of how straightforward it is and how, like, if that's the only thing you have, you can definitely learn how to make music just from that. Yeah. Very good, very nice. Whew. With that being said, thank you for coming with me, and yeah, appreciate it. Peace.